Okay. Can you show the like the basic like control shift stuff we were doing last week? Do you remember? Do you remember?
Has anybody had a trouble connecting?
Can you? Okay, can you at least go to the?
Can you see me? Let's see me if I get it up. That was a bit delayed though.
Yeah, the internet connection's a bit slow. The connection's a bit slow.
What are you guys doing? You're trying to watch online?
Nope.
Yeah.
That's not the page.
Yes.
Then type in
Check, maybe it's
So maybe it's time changes to each folder.
Look, a new wire.
yeah, actually change.
You're gonna be late to us all those pieces.
No. What was it? Well, this is quick. I mean, again, most of these guys, the lecture is me showing you more or less how to do it quickly and what you can do, and then most of the work you do by yourselves, ideally in pairs or small groups. Yes, touch it.
Yes, so it looks like you're welcome.
I will tell. My friends right there. Keep watching.
Yeah.
So really cool. With the teacher.
Use the Excel sheet there.
Okay, is it working?
Yeah.
Okay, where is it?
So if you go down, if you go on keyboard shortcuts. It's supposed to practice all of these.
Whatever you say over here.
Yes.
Really?
Say something. Yeah. Okay, good. Have your feed. Watch up. Watch up.
Then, what is that?
Okay. Alright. We're good? What?
Not yet. Just give us.
Sorry. Do you guys all have this file open? It's called Week 2 Exercises BF. Was it on Canvas or? Alright, so are you on Canvas right now?
Yes. Is it on Canvas?
Yes, in files.
So you go to modules, just type
Files.
files.
On the left, just
Okay.
files.
Go
Yeah,
to files.
modules is just a map to link you to the other parts of the website.
Okay.
Just go to files and just link to.
Wait, LA, Excel, workshop, two.
So it's either week 2 and then there should be this file, or go to files and then go to week 2 or Excel workshop week 2 exercises.
Two
BF.
exercises, yeah.
You let me know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. Alt-IC?
Yeah.
Let me see.
Yeah. So Alt IC. If it doesn't work
Searching a
out,
hyperlink.
do you know what version of? Are you in a Mac or? Right. If it doesn't work out, I'll check with you. You know.
Alt does is alt.
But normally like this one. And you have to somehow make it look pretty. And ideally, an example of pretty might be something like this. Right? In which everything is spaced out equally, everything's spaced out nicely. Okay, I'll do that. Yes, I will do. Maybe for prices, you want to have the same number of decimal places, maybe 2 decimal places, but maybe for weight, you only want 1 decimal place. So how do you do this? If you have a data set that looks ugly like this, and let's say that you also missed and wanted to include the Incredible Hulk somewhere here. So I've listed a bunch of instructions here. I can do it quickly to show you how it works. So for example, I want you to insert the Incredible Hulk above Spider-Man. So I would go to Spider-Man and do Alt I want to insert a row above the Spider-Man. Alt IR, yeah, Alt insert row above Spider-Man. Right? Then I'm copying this data down to here. Then I want to say, like the font size, the font color, the font itself are different. So Control A selects the whole thing, and here you can just standardize. Usually, there's a few things for which I'll teach you guys to use the keyboard, and some things it's just easier to use a mouse. So for example, to select font size sometimes it's just easier to use a mouse. Font color, also easier to use a mouse. For other things, easier to not use a mouse. So in this case I'm saying do Alt Arial 11 font black. Now in this case you can see that the column spacing is not the same. So a keyboard for that, a keyboard shortcut which will be in these instructions is Alt OCA, which is something like column adjust. Basically it will adjust column size according to your row, to the data inside. Alt OCA. I don't know what the O does, but think column. Just there's a couple of these. There's not going to be that many. You memorize them and you will use them over and over and over. And if that one was all Alt OCA, can you imagine what's the one for rows? Alt ORA spaces them according to the height of your row, of the amount of data that you have in your rows. Then to format the numbers, there's these buttons here to select number formats. So in this case, if you press a comma, it will automatically insert 2 commas. Now here we have the same problem we had before, which was column sizes are inadequate. So again, you do Alt OCA, and it will automatically adjust to that. In this case, I want 1 decimal place, so you can do comma and then take away 1 decimal place here, and then you're set. Yep. And then I'm asking you to, to maybe add some borders, maybe make this one bold and shaded, something like this, and then you end up with something like this example that I'm giving you here. So that's just play around with it a little bit. Exercise 4. Sometimes we have rows like this that will have a lot of ugly data, and you might want it to look something more manageable, maybe like this. Again, instructions are up here. Basically, you wrap text, but now the problem is that it's wrapping it according to the column width you had at the beginning. So you come up here between C and D and you space it out a little bit. Now the problem is that the row height is off. So then you do the one from before, Alt O-R-A, then it looks something like that. Same with these ones, you do Alt O-C-A in this case, just so that they space them out like that. And then you can add just some basic formatting like we did in the other one. The last piece
What is
of
the Alt OCA doing again?
in this case, the column width was something like that, so it just wasn't wide enough.
Okay.
And sometimes instead of you manually adjusting column width to fit it perfectly, because you might have one that is longer, to do it automatically, it's Alt OCA, and it'll bring it up to what it should be. The last thing which is really useful is the format painter. Basically, Excel has this feature that lets you copy the format from one cell and replicate it. So for example, if you want to use this format on these ones, you press here, click up here on Format Painter, and then you click on the new one, and it will replicate the format. Sorry, then if you only press once, it will only replicate once, and then immediately it's not doing it again. But if you press twice, So you select which one you want to copy, then you press twice the Format Painter. Now, every single time I click, it's going to be doing that until I either press again or I press Escape. Again, you can use the shortcuts that we were doing. So for example, here you can say, for example, I'm copying this cell here and I want to replicate it across the whole thing. If I do Control-Shift-Right, I copy it across that whole row. I can copy this whole row here to Format Painter and bring it down with Control-Shift down. So again, using Control and Shift like we did last week has other uses also. Then Peru clearly is on the lead. I just got this data from the internet, totally not on the side, promise. So you can also copy the format of an entire table. So in this case, let's say I want to replicate this formatting in this table here. You can select the whole table, Format Painter, and you just click on the top left, and it'll replicate the whole thing. This is easy if the data sizes, if the table sizes are exactly the same. Yes, Peter?
Why replicate the table without the plot inside?
So
Or is that different?
let me see. So you grab this one here.
Yeah.
You pressed Format Painter,
Yeah.
and then did you click on the top left cell here?
Yeah. Oh,
Drag.
Is it good?
yeah.
Cool. So then the problem is what happens when you have one format that you want to replicate in tables of different size. So for example, in this case, if I do this Format Painter and paint here, it's only going to paint on those, right? So if you copy here and replicate it on a wider data set, Excel will try to guess what you're trying to do. So in this case, it guesses it right, but in this other case, it doesn't, right? In this case, it thinks like it goes in threes. So then sometimes you just have to figure out more or less what you want to do, and then just use the shortcuts to your advantage. So in this case, for example, I might want to copy, imagine in this case, let's say we have 500 data entries. You could do this Format Painter and then drag all the way down, but that would be pretty tedious. What you can also do is just copy the first row, paste the first row, and then now that you have this one up here, you do Format Painter, and then Control-Shift down will paste all the way down, right? And just until the end of your data set and not any further. Same here, you might want to copy maybe these three, and then maybe you only want to replicate this format on the numbers, but not the other two. So then you copy this one, and then you go there. Right? All I did was I copied the format from these four. I clicked Format Painter, and then I did Control-Shift-Right, and basically that copied them, that pasted across to the right until the end of the data set. So this is a basic intro to formatting, which is a combination of making your data more presentable, but also makes it easier to work with data. For example, when you want to delete entries, like here, or insert data, like here. Cool. Any questions for the last 5 minutes? Otherwise, Nonsa is still in Zim, getting her paperwork. So I will run the TA session, the teaching assistant session, this Friday at 2 p.m. So if you have tried to do this during the week, you've talked to your peers from the class, you've posted questions on the discussion board, and even then you cannot figure this out, come to the TA session. We'll let you know where it is, and that's where I can walk you through this one-on-one.
So Friday afternoon.
2 p.m. I think it's in the conference room 1. but if it isn't, we'll let you know in advance. Cool. If you forget about anything here, this is again filmed up in Canvas because we're fancy like that. Cool.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you guys. Next week we do enter fancier data analysis and manipulation. So next week and the following week, that's where things get sexy.
Yeah, that's
Cool. All right, thanks guys. I have a son to grill on his thesis, so that was it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you guys. Sorry, I was late.
Thank you.